Now, what if I was to tell you that it's your childhood? Yes, your childhood that is going to allow you to get to where you need to get to in trading, and probably every other area in your life. And in today's video, I'm going to touch on a few things that'll make you kind of wake up, kind of make you that light bulb moment's going to hit, and what's going to really allow you to get where you need to get to when it comes to taking those profits out of the market. Welcome back, everyone. And today I want to speak about process over profits. You've heard this a million times, I know, process over profits. But actually, are you taking it into consideration when you're trying to be a trader? Probably not, and that's why you're looking at these videos. So when it comes to certain things, process over profits, what actually is process over profits? Well, to make it very, very simple, is you must concentrate on each singular step towards getting successful, whatever that may be, whether that's many things that I've mentioned before on this channel. But I want to deep a little bit deeper into concentrating on the process and why you as a trader seem to be struggling and kind of trying to miss that part out and trying to just make money. So recently, as you've seen, a lot of things have been coming on my algorithm and probably your algorithm. That's how you found me, about the mindset around trading. We're done with the lifestyle stuff that we see all the time, the trade recap that people can do, you know, the trading view record and show you how they made money and all that kind of nonsense that we know goes on. But actually, we need to speak about what is the real foundation, and that's what you're going to find on my channel. And in today, when I'm talking about the process, I want you to really listen to what I'm just about to explain, okay? And it all comes down to going back to our childhood. And you might say, oh, I don't want to listen to these videos. And if these videos are not for you and you can't spend 15 minutes listening to a video that's really going to help you be aware and get your self-awareness, then again, I always mention it, these videos are not for you, and you need to go and get those dopamine lifestyle videos, and you're probably not going to make it in trading. So childhood mastery, okay? This is something that you've all been through in your life, and you probably don't think you've been through, but there's a high possibility if you are in trading that you are this type of person. Childhood mastery tends to come from a skill or something that we've been good at or got through as a child, all right? And a lot of you might say, well, I've never been good at sport, or I've never been good at this, but it could be sports, it could be an instrument, it could be academic, it could be something where you have really pushed the boundaries and continued when everybody else is looking to quit. Remember, the average person will quit way ahead of when they're supposed to. You've all seen the picture with the pickaxe and the diamond, and the guy gives up and the diamonds are just on the other side of the wall. That's the average person, okay? And they will give up. But if you've had an experience in your childhood where you have broken through where other people would fail, that's where you're going to have to tap into to get successful at trading. And when I talk about people who quit or slow down, that is your average person. Whether people like it or not, and whether you take offense to that, it's the average person. And they never really make that breakthrough. And they go from maybe job to job, or shiny object to shiny object, or looking for validation from one person, or looking just for loads of people who can really help them and do the work for them. You're not that type of person if you're watching this video, and you're definitely not that type of person if you're a part of our community. You are a person who will not quit when others quit. Now, I have done a video about when people should quit, because not quitting at certain times in your life can be unhealthy, and you need to understand the difference between quitting when it's needed and quitting just because you can't be bothered. And when it comes to mastering trading, the biggest ingredient, should I say, or element or variable is time. You must understand that time is what's going to be the difference. And let's think about going back to that childhood event or skill, whether it's playing an instrument, sports, whatever it may be. It took time. And that is the magic ingredients, foundation, element, whatever you want to call it, for want of better English and words, in your process. Now, the strategies, I've told you all this nonsense that we still have. The strategies are easy. We can talk about strategies all the time. We can do a replay and look at this and look at that and pretend hindsight capital and all that stuff. We can do all that, right? That's very, very simple. But the only impediment is going to be you. You're the variable. I've spoke about this so many times in my videos. You are the variable, the main variable, your emotions. Your emotions are going to be in the way. And if you do not understand what I mean by that, then you're never going to be able to practice the process. I have many, many students that I work with, and the big problem is trusting the process, having faith in what they're actually doing, all right? And that's because they're not tapping into their old childhood. They're not tapping into their old belief system where they have achieved greatness before. Just because they're not an influencer or just because they're not all over TV or whatever, people think that they've not achieved many things. But you all have achieved many things. Things that I can't do and things that other people can't do. That's an absolute fact, all right? So all these emotions, when I talk about you, they're going to come in. You can't suppress these emotions of boredom, of fear, of frustration, of greed, of FOMO, and all these types of things, insecurities in yourself. You can't suppress that, all right? But when you concentrate on the process and you have faith, guess what happens to these emotions? They change into other strengths and other pillars and bricks that allow you to build upon, because you're concentrating on the process. I did the video last time about the phases of Robert Greene was talking about apprenticeship. You really like that video. And this is just an extension of that, really, in relation to you have to go through a process to do what you need to do. There is a simple guide of what you need to do. Excuse me for that. As you know, I work with quite a few people in the background, and one of the people that I work with who teaches me how to build things behind the scenes, and I am procrastinating on that, and I apologize for that if you're watching his videos, because you probably are a business coach. But one thing that he said is simplify everything that you are doing and continue to keep it so simple that it becomes boring. And then that emotion of boring comes in. And guess what? It proves that you are doing something because you are getting the results. Because you will say to yourself, this is boring, but my trades are working out. This is boring, but I'm passing funded accounts. This is boring, but I've got that payout, which only 1% of the 4% that ever make it, or whatever the stat is, get to that level. And that's because you're practicing on the process of building muscle, on the process of 1 mile at a time for a marathon, on the process of building a relationship with your spouse and understanding each other. These things take time. And if you're not willing to put the time in, then quite frankly, you're not going to be a trader anyway. That's an absolute definite outcome. Because these things take time. I told you the video last time, they ever did a video about 8 weeks and they were panicking, or 10 months they were going. And the amount of people that made comments in that video about they've been trading for 4 years and they've just started to get that. They've been trading for 5 years and they still can't get over that line and quit their 9 to 5. It may take you 1 year. I've had students with 1 year. It may take you 5 years. It may take you 8 years. It may take you 10 years. But it all depends on the systems, the simplicity, and the process that you are using along the way. My friends, it's very, very simple when it comes to this. If you're rushing this and you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it's not going to work. That's a fact. That's a fact. And the process is what's killing people on a psychological level. And you know that I love on the psychology side with my degree and all those types of things. Not to say that to whatever, it's just a humble brag in there, because people think from where I'm from, an ex-professional footballer, and that we ain't got any brains. Well, we've got some sort of brains. So the psychology is a big part. And if that's what you're struggling with, by the way, then obviously, you know, there's a link below, book a call, all that stuff, and I can help you with the psychology side and building a strategy, a trade plan, and get you profitable along the way. But I just thought I'd do this short video because it's amazing how simple that trading and life can be if we just concentrate on the processes of the boring work. It is the boring work, people, that is going to get us where we need to get to. It is the boring work. And when I talk about going back into that childhood, you've got to remember that what we don't know, we don't know. Because if we do something, my son asks me, Dad, why would so-and-so do this? Well, I say, well, they don't have the information to make a different decision. That's the same with me and you. The only way we get that information is by learning and then going back to our belief systems and see what's in the way. Now, remember, not all belief systems are bad. And this is one of those. If your belief system, where you went back and you spent hours and days and years playing that instrument, learning basketball, learning how to swim, getting good at swimming, becoming a gymnast, boxer, sports, whatever it may be, becoming a Lego genius in your youth, it took time. And that's what you're going to need.